Hello and welcome to the Actual Tech Media EcoCast. My name is Jess and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information that I want to cover with you. All right, let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. So if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Now, keep in mind that if you do have any technical issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on today, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you, so throughout today's EcoCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over a live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. Now, if we don't get to your question during the live webinar today, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us will be following up after we wrap. All right, next up, there's going to be lots of cool aha moments on the EcoCast today. And if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's EcoCast will be automatically added to your post. All right, our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the handouts tab for some awesome resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection, solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. Now, if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes that we'll be giving away throughout today's EcoCast. I'm going to tell you a bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. First, you do need to be here live in attendance at the EcoCast in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all of you after we wrap. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, if you don't know what those full T's and C's are, that's fine. We've got the full thing for you. Just head on over to that handouts tab, click in, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find them waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we actually have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. So in today's EcoCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our live sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all questions asked after we wrap the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and you would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about your big win, and we'll get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the EcoCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going, so let's connect on social media. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and on LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content and resources right after we wrap the EcoCast today, be sure to subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and, hey, grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or a coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you'll find a link to do that right in your handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected at the end of the webinar. And both you and your coworker or friend could win a prize, and we hold those drawings every month. So be sure to refer a friend because, hey, it could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for all the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your handouts tab, fill out a quick application, and the Actual Tech crew will then match you with some vendors that we think you should probably be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you get to choose to join in, like surveys, test runs, new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you'll learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker on your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you all about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find out everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, prevent, and recover. This site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. Go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books will work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and as I said, they are completely free. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in that handouts tab as well. All right, well, we have covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get going.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the EcoCast, best practices for hardening your hybrid infrastructure. We are going to have a great day, and this is definitely a topic that is probably on everyone's mind because hardening your hybrid infrastructure is a tricky thing to navigate. We've embraced the cloud fully over the past decade. However, many legacy systems are still in use, and scaling up and scaling down and incorporating multiple environments of on-prem and in the cloud makes it a tricky security battle for many. We're going to be exploring latest techniques for securing both your on-premise and cloud components, and you're going to learn how to identify and mitigate potential vulnerabilities and discover some strategies for maintaining compliance and governance across hybrid systems. Today, we have an amazing team rubric in the house, and I'm excited to have them on for this conversation. I'm sure you guys are all pumped and ready to go. So let me introduce myself and let's get things on the road. My name is Mackenzie Puddesy, and I'm a moderator here at Actual Tech Media. My friends and fellow moderators, Jess Steinbach, Scott Becker, and Keith Ward, are here on live chat with us today. And we will also have the incredible and highly entertaining Keith Ward doing our keynote as well to kick things off and set the stage for today's EcoCast. Now, I do have something pretty exciting for you other than incredible information. I also have got some prizes. Today on the EcoCast, you could win one of three $300 Amazon gift cards, and we'll be giving them away to 3 lucky winners who are here, present, and live with us at the EcoCast. And as mentioned in the housekeeping chat this morning, you can find the full T's and C's linked in the handouts tab if you have any questions about that. And hey, with that last little thing, I think we are indeed ready to rock. To kick things off in style, I have my fellow moderator here, Keith Ward, who's going to be opening up our minds to this topic and setting the stage for today. Keith, if you are ready, I'm going to kick things over to you, good sir. Hit it.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the EcoCast. I'm Keith Ward, one of the moderators around here, and I'm thrilled to discuss ways to harden your hybrid infrastructure. And I thought it would be fun to compare these security tips and tricks to characters in my favorite movie of all time. I'm referring, of course, to The Godfather. You may think that there's no connection between that movie and cybersecurity, but you'd be wrong. Hardening hybrid infrastructures, which combine on-premises and cloud environments, can be tricky, but it's also essential. But this blend of traditional and modern IT systems also brings unique security challenges. To safeguard these increasingly complex environments, organizations must adopt a multifaceted approach to security. In the same way, the Corleone crime family had to secure and protect its operations. See, told you there was a connection. So let's get going. Corleone Family Rule 1: implement strong access controls. Robust access control mechanisms are essential for protecting both on-premises and cloud-based resources. It can involve implementing things like multi-factor authentication to add an extra layer of security beyond just passwords. Another proactive step is to enforce the principle of least privilege, ensuring users have only the access necessary for their roles. Then regularly review and update access permissions to adapt to changes in the workforce and reduce the risk of insider threats. Now, you should also consider implementing role-based access control to streamline permission management and enhance security. It's like the scene in The Godfather after Don Corleone is shot and the family beefs up security at the compound using cars and extra men to guard the house. Corleone Family Rule 2: regularly update and patch systems. Keeping systems up to date with the latest patches and updates is critical for closing security vulnerabilities. This means establishing a comprehensive patch management process, which includes or should include regular scanning for vulnerabilities and timely deployment of patches across all systems, including operating systems, applications, and firmware. Go beyond just that, however, and automate the patching process where possible to ensure consistency and reduce the risk of human error. Now, of course, it's not foolproof, as the recent CrowdStrike disaster shows, but it's still one of the most important things you can do. This is basically what Tom Hagen did. Tom is the guy in the picture right there. Now, Tom was the consigliere or advisor to Sonny, who at that time was the Don of the family. Now, Tom had to make sure the family was protected against attack by knowing where the threats were and then beefing up those vulnerabilities. Tom would have made sure all servers were patched and updated if he was your admin. Corleone Family Rule 3: monitor and log activities. Don Corleone, who you see here, kept a close watch on his enemies at all times. He kept his friends close and his enemies closer. He knew their movements and what they were up to. He was a master of logging all information from various sources into his brain to keep his family on top. Now, this is what continuous monitoring and logging do. They're vital for detecting and responding to security incidents in real time. In the non-mafia world, this involves implementing centralized logging to collect and analyze logs from various sources, including network devices, servers, and applications. You also need to use security information and event management, or SIM for short, to correlate and analyze log data, identifying suspicious activities and potential threats. Don't get caught off guard here with only Fredo to guard you. You know how that ended up. Regularly review and audit logs to ensure compliance with security policies and to improve incident response capabilities. Corleone Family Rule 4. Family Rule 4. Encrypt your data. Data encryption is crucial for protecting sensitive information from unauthorized access. You need to make that data hard to find and get to, just like Michael Corleone in Sicily after he killed Sollozzo and Captain McCluskey. Now, how do you do that? By encrypting data at rest and in transit using strong encryption standards. It's also a best practice to ensure proper key management practices, including secure storage and access controls for encryption keys. After these rules are in place, you need to regularly review and update encryption protocols to keep up with changing security standards, and they are changing all the time. Encryption safeguards data integrity and confidentiality, ensuring that even if data is intercepted, it can't be read or modified without authorization. In other words, make sure that your data is hidden away like Michael as he melted into the background of the Italian countryside. And that brings us to the last of our Corleone family rules. Number 5, conduct regular security assessments. If you think security is just set it and forget it, you better make sure your resume is up to date. Regular security assessments help identify and close vulnerabilities before they can be exploited. This means you need to conduct periodic vulnerability scans, penetration tests, and security audits to evaluate the effectiveness of your security measures. Then use those findings to improve your security posture by addressing the weaknesses that you find, and I promise you, you'll find them. As part of that, you'll need to ensure compliance with industry regulations and standards through regular assessments. This will help you avoid legal and financial entanglements, which, of course, no one wants. Now, the first scene in the movie is the wedding of Don Corleone's daughter that you see here. At the wedding, one of the Don's lieutenants, Clemenza, tells one of the guards to look around at the wedding when he found the guard enjoying the festivities instead. Go do your job, he told him. That is you, my friends. You need to do your job by looking around at your security on a regular basis and finding out where the problems are. So now you have 5 tried and true methods for hardening your hybrid security. Implementing these actions will go a long way toward keeping you safe. Failing to do so, well, that could leave your infrastructure and operations feeling like Sunny on the causeway. The moral of the story? Don't be Sunny on the causeway. Lock in security for your hybrid infrastructure, and you'll be a member of the family in good standing. It's an offer you can't refuse.
Oh, Keith, that was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. I think I need you to do every keynote so that you can compare different films to security and software. This is fabulous. So I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. If you haven't already noticed, there's a poll up, and the poll is just asking what your time frame is for adding new or existing, updating your existing IT solutions at your company. So are you looking kind of right away, 0 to 6 months? Are you about a year out, 6 to 12? Are you thinking more on a kind of a 2-year timeline? Or maybe you're not sure. You're here, you're getting a lay of the land, you're figuring out what options there are and what best practices exist for hardening your hybrid infrastructure. And from there, you're going to make some very informed decisions. So again, thank you for being attentive. Thank you for filling in the poll. If you haven't already, we are going to be having a Q&A session for our speakers. So I do want to make you aware, remind you that we have a $50 best question gift card, which is up for grabs during this session. So if you come up with the best, the most insightful, the most timely, thoughtful question, you may just be rewarded for it. So go ahead and send those questions in once we get rolling with our first speaker. Today, the EcoCast is short and sweet, but absolutely packed with valuable information. Obviously, other than our keynote, we have just one speaker today to shed light on this topic, and then we're going to give you a little bit of extra time to spend in your days. That said, again, we will maybe have a little extra time with questions, so feel free to send those in. And I'm going to actually be having Jess from our team hopping on to do questions with Vincent Piazza, who is our first speaker today. So we have the team from Rubrik, Friendly Faces. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Rubrik, but if not, this is going to be a treat. Vincent Piazza is the Cloud and SaaS Product GTM over at Rubrik. So Vincent, welcome. I look forward to hearing the great content you've prepared for us today. And Jess, thank you for hopping in to join the Q&A once we wrap with Vincent. So all right, Vincent, I'm going to pass things over to you, and the stage is yours.
I just wanted to, spend a little bit of time today, and we really appreciate everyone joining the session, telling you a little bit about Rubrik from a background perspective. And then I'll tell you a little bit about how Rubrik is expanding and driving additional peace of mind in the cloud and in SaaS kind of landscape as it relates to data security. So just to give you a quick amount of background, Rubrik was founded in 2014, really focused on modernizing the data protection landscape in the enterprise data center. So our focus was initially making the actual aspect of managing backups in an enterprise data center easier to scale up, and making the UI for that, as well as the concept of making the backups not only essentially more efficient, but also enhancing the security and data protection around the backup infrastructure. So while we were living in the world of hardware at that time, our real differentiation was our software. essentially our backups, once they landed in Rubrik, were uncompromisable with native immutability. Our file system is natively immutable. It's append only. It cannot be broken. And then the second concept was making those backups, once they landed in Rubrik, completely undiscoverable. We did that with a logical air gap. So we had those two software differentiations that made us highly differentiated in the space, especially in about 2017, when this concept of ransomware starts to grow and our customers are more and more affected by that. We continued to focus on taking those two core software tenets, in that we knew our customers would be able to recover with Rubrik 100% of the time. We tried to apply those two software tenets to more areas of our customers' environments, particularly, as you can imagine, that allowed us to expand into the cloud, into the hyperscaler workloads that we'd be protecting, and also SaaS workloads like 365. So as we drive and continue to add more peace of mind from an aspect of recovery, now our customers are more focused on, or are becoming more focused on, data security in production, in cloud and SaaS, where everyone is encouraging our customers to build more and drive more and consume more data, especially on the front end in the business, right, where users are developing their own applications. We're seeing that more data becomes susceptible in a production environment. So Rubrik wants to take that same peace of mind that we offer and apply it and expand our scope into the production area outside of just limiting ourselves to the backup. And that's why earlier this month, or last month actually, we announced acquiring the leader in data security and data security posture management, Laminar. So that's what we're going to be focusing around today. But again, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on Rubrik's history and how we arrived here, and how our history in that area really informed our decision to go forward in this area. So, we talk a lot about the concept of assume breach and assume exfiltration. And we're going to talk about how that relates to the cloud. So as you can see here, the threat landscape in the cloud is continuing to expand. But that also is relative to the amount of data and workloads that are growing in the cloud themselves, right? Hyperscaler data year over year is growing about a 60% clip. SaaS data is growing about a 200% year over year clip. And we're seeing the threat adversaries gaining notice to that as well, right? 70% of malicious attacks are growing year over year in the public cloud. And we actually, 100% of these are occurring from a compromised privileged access credential. So while the cloud and the hyperscalers remain incredibly secure, and obviously the SaaS applications as well, being accessible from the internet, the way in for threat adversaries and bad guys has remained to be, and will continue to be, this concept of privileged or global access credentials, where they can access and move laterally throughout the cloud environment and exfiltrate data. So that's been the area that we saw as kind of the problem statement for a lot of the CISOs that we were dealing with. And we talk a lot about this concept of defense in depth, right? But and adding all these layers to make it more and more difficult for kind of bad guys. If they look at your house and you have all these different layers of security, you have the fence, you have the cameras, you have the alarm system, they may not think it's worth it. But Rubrik has always been that insurance policy, that last line of defense at the point of data. We did that in the data center and we did that in the cloud. But still, we're seeing, as we talked about on the previous slides, bad guys are still getting in. They're still penetrating these areas. They're using, on the right, as you can see here, this concept of privileged access credentials. And we're seeing 120% increase in exfiltration risk, right? They typically, in a ransomware event, they may not always run a double extortion campaign to pull data out of the environment. That is increasing more, 120% year over year. Exfiltration is the biggest risk for organizations today, in that the threat adversaries are targeting data. They know that's the biggest thing that's going to disrupt your business and coerce you to pay the ransom and to kind of comply with what they're asking for. So how do you ensure that sensitive data in your organization is where it's supposed to be and encrypted appropriately, despite having all these layers of defense? And also knowing that using a platform like Rubrik, you will be able to recover and get your business back up online. But how do you ensure at each level, at the consumption level and at the storage level, that your data is organized appropriately to mitigate your risk of having a breach? So like we talked about, Rubrik has over 5,000 customers. We manage a tremendous amount of data for our customers in our current backup landscape. And so our Rubrik Zero Labs group actually looked into this data to inform our decision of what area we wanted to better service our customers. In doing that, we looked at 28 exabytes of data. It's a lot. And we found that in that landscape, about 1 in 38 of files at a large enterprise or a medium-sized enterprise contain sensitive data. So the landscape is pretty significant at scale for an organization to manage their sensitive data landscape. Then this is just in the backups that we protect. So that expands and compounds more and more in the cloud and in SaaS. Each account or subscription that you could manage has these different layers and points of vulnerability that may be susceptible to an organization. And that amplifies, of course, as you progress to multiple accounts, multiple subscriptions, multiple regions. All of this amplifies in an organization. And in order for them to make sure, and again, if you have a multi-cloud structure where you're managing multiple hyperscalers, how do you know, essentially, is your data essentially organized appropriately at each level of the cloud infrastructure that you have? And that's where I'm going to jump through. And that's where we see the question. What we worked with most CISOs is that 90% of the CISOs that we interviewed as part of this, positioning to go into Laminar was focused on the concept of they had issues with visibility. CISOs, while they were monitoring and enforcing infrastructure and cloud configuration, they had a difficult time understanding the actual deployment of data in production. They didn't have an idea of how to inventory everything that was being used across the cloud, as well in SaaS applications like Snowflake, Google Workplace, 365, that end users were consuming. Were there standards of data security being enforced at each level of the organization? They had a difficult time gaining that visibility. And then in the worst case scenario, that makes it very difficult for an organization to understand and to report back to leadership. If I did have someone in the environment and there was an incident, what exactly was impacted? Was my sensitive data organized and encrypted appropriately, or was it susceptible? And in a world of likely assume breach and assume exfiltration, did I have an incident in my environment, or did I have a breach? Do I have to contact, the SEC with these new regulations to make sure that my organization was not fully breached? And again, we actually work with Deloitte that in these worst case scenarios, we uncovered that about each record that could be exfiltrated out of a system in a data breach could be about $180 per record. So at scale, in an environment where tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of records could be exposed, this becomes a C-level priority, making sure that your sensitive data at scale across each level of the consumption of your organization is organized and encrypted appropriately. So that's when Laminar comes in, essentially allowing you to, you're seeing in each enterprise data source in the hyperscaler, in SaaS end user and business applications, and in your data center to autonomously inventory your entire environment and the assets inside your data, to score and posture that data from a sensitive standpoint. What PII do I have, et cetera, and also understand at the user level who has access to this data. And again, what's really key about this is Laminar allows you to see at the file level who has access to this data at its most granular point, and understand from a DDR, data detection and response standpoint, if data is being exfiltrated or egressed out of my cloud environment and pulled out of the system. And then also ensuring that you could roll up to your configuration and to your actual machine level. And all of this happens in Laminar continuously and autonomously. Laminar is agentless. It's fully serverless. It deploys against your data in production without moving any data out of prod to give you this insight from a preparedness standpoint to ensure that I know, and a posturing standpoint, that my users are configured appropriately and they have the appropriate access controls in place at the most granular point in terms of the files that they can see and interact with, And I know that the sensitive data that I have is organized and encrypted appropriately, but also in Rubrik's core competency of recovery and forensics to ensure that our customers can get back up online and mitigate the impacts in a worst case scenario breach event. You can use Laminar to understand the breadth and depth of a potential breach or a potential incident. Understanding again, was I breached? Did I have an incident? And that's really key for us. And again, something that 90% of CISOs claim to have that issue with. So just to wrap up again, the real benefits of the Laminar and Rubrik partnership now that they are a part of us is discovering all of your data and inventorying all of the assets in your organization automatically, deploying no new infrastructure and no new servers, minimizing the blast radius of a potential worst case scenario, detecting breaches in real time with data detection and response and threat alerts for users doing malicious behavior inside of my environment at the file level, taking things out when they shouldn't be, enforcing over 200 policies with our best-in-class classification engine with the ability to actually configure your own custom policies and define what is sensitive and what is not, and relay that back to the rest of your SAC, your SIM, your SOAR, or your labeling and classification system in your SaaS platforms. And again, Rubrik's core competency, the peace of mind knowing that you will be able to recover at scale and bring yourself back up online, that additional peace of mind that we offer and have since 2014, this just kind of adds to what we're able to drive for our customers. And again, like I talked about, Rubrik has over 6,000 customers currently in every industry. And the one we really like to focus on is the middle core portion here. We're the data protection and data security platform of choice for a lot of the security players in the market today, which we view as a big validation to our cause. And like we talked about, Rubrik is offering every component of the data recovery and cyber recovery stack, essentially ensuring that we run a zero trust architecture, that your data, once it lands in Rubrik, is fully protected. And anything that we have insight into, you can have that same peace of mind and certainty that it's organized appropriately in preparedness for a worst case scenario. We give you insights from our Rubrik Zero Labs organization, which is staying on top of the trends and the tactics and techniques used by the cyber threats in the environment today. And we also have a 24/7 around-the-clock ransomware response team that has been engaged in over 200 worst-case ransomware events, and they have a 100% recovery rate. Round-the-clock service to ensure that our customers will bring you back up online. And Rubrik really puts our money where our mouth is. We offer a $10 million ransomware warranty that if you weren't able to recover with Rubrik, if you were following our best practices, we would actually give you, $10 million. We've never paid it, but it is something that we, like I said, really put our money where our mouth is to give you that additional peace of mind from a preparedness standpoint, and as well, from that peace of mind standpoint. So, Jess, I appreciate it, and that's kind of all I had right now.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, Vincent. Thank you so much. I'm going to move over to a poll question that we have for all of you. And we're wondering about is what additional information you would like to get about the Rubrik solution. So obviously, Vincent just gave us a lot of great information, and there is lots more to dig into. So this is a great way to sort of hit the easy button, make your life a little bit easier. Just click on that poll right there, and Rubrik will send you exactly what you need and only what you need. And then you can get started on this journey a little bit, and wherever you're at and sort of researching and reading a bit more, you'll have the right resources right there in your inbox. So make sure you click on that poll. While you're doing that, we are going to go into some of these questions here because we have some great questions coming in. And Vincent, I want to say just an awesome way to kick off the summit. Thank you so much for that. Really exciting announcement as well with that new partnership.
Yes, thank you very much. We're very excited here at Rubrik.
Yeah, I bet. We did get, this question comes in a lot about sort of what makes any sort of solution kind of stand out. And I'm wondering, because you've given us sort of especially at that wrap there, you were giving us a few of those kinds of major highlights of this partnership. But could you give us an idea of what is the key, unique, or reason that you think somebody would really consider pursuing Rubrik and especially now with this partnership or acquisition, I should say?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think our CEO Bipul Sinha really talks a lot about the data protection market being focused on typically for years and years on this highly efficient and kind of making the SLA process for standing up your backups at scale easier. But and a lot of large organizations, we're seeing the CISO and the CIO collaborate around this idea of data security, right? Essentially guaranteeing that the backups and the at scale are part of the CISO's mandate to ensure that the recovery process, whether it's a tabletop exercise or something else that they have in terms of preparedness, is part of the CISO's kind of line of sight. And so what our goal was is to expand that same peace of mind that we offer with our guaranteed recovery capabilities into production, like I talked about. A lot of the times, if you think about it as business users might be developing presentations or Excel files that contain, or dashboards in an analytics pipeline that contain sensitive data. So this is kind of outside the scope. It's a secondary copy of what a backup would capture. So Laminar allows us with this, new partnership and acquisition to expand our line of sight into the end user business application so that we can also ensure for our customers that, yes, your backups are secure. Yes, we'll make sure that you're able to recover and bring yourself back up online as with the minimized RPOs and RTOs that Rubrik's core competency offers. And we guarantee that. But also we can help you ensure that at the end user and at the consumption level, your data security practices and mandates are being carried out so that if something does go wrong, and you have that level of certainty that everything is organized as it should be, and you have no vulnerabilities on the front end as well.
Yeah, and we did get a couple of questions early on kind of about ransomware with Rubrik, because obviously that's top of mind. And you kind of hit on that right at the end there as well, and especially around, Rubrik has that call line that if somebody is hit, that and what's the thing you say, you stay on the line until you tell them to get off?
Yeah, exactly. So the ransomware response team is part of our subscription. So that is another area. If your organization is thinking about this and thinking about a new data security and data protection platform, one of Rubrik's core differentiations, aside from the fact that we have recovered 100% of our customers that have dealt with this, right? Which we believe is our biggest differentiation. It's that software, those core software tenants that we talked about at the beginning. The other side of that is that we're really focused on making these kind of worst case scenarios as manageable as possible for our customers. And part of that is we established the ransomware response team a couple of years ago. They're tried and true veterans of this space. It's part of your subscription. It's not an additional cost. They work with your, incident response team. If you have someone on retainer, they allow you to use the forensic tools that Rubrik offers at scale to help you bring yourself back up online. It's a white glove service. And then like you mentioned, Jess, yes, they get engaged. If you contact Rubrik and you use any of the words that might set off the alarms here, they are engaged and available to you from beginning until you tell them to stand down.
I like that. Just emotionally, that's so comforting to know that you'd actually have to say, get out now, I'm done, instead of that they're with you until the end. Question here, how does this differ from a CSPM?
Yeah, exactly. So the CSPM providers, do have some capabilities available for data security. But I think what's really important to keep in mind, and I think I want to also say as well, Rubrik is a very, we are a customer of one of the leading CSPM providers. We definitely don't underscore or try to replace CSPMs at all for their core competency. This is more about the kind of add-on features that they would have for a data security platform. The CSPMs are limited in essence to the hyperscaler, right? They can only give you the line of sight at best into the assets that they're helping you configure and protect appropriately, which would be the big three of AWS, Azure, and GCP, right? Laminar allows you to get what we talked about a lot at the beginning of the call, which is the concept of the business applications, Snowflake, Snowflake, BigQuery, 365, Google Workspace, the end user consumption. And then also as part of our partnership, Laminar is going to expand that capability into the world of on-prem. Rubrik has been working on-prem since 2014, and we're going to work together to integrate that. So the Laminar line of sight is going to constantly expand. So CSPM is definitely a best practice. Don't want to but again, from a differentiation standpoint, Laminar is incredibly granular, and also the line of sight is wider than what a CSPM would be able to provide.
And we're getting close to the end of our time here, Vincent, but on that note and looking at line of sight, we did have some questions coming in around how things might change now with Laminar. And so, one question was sort of, hey, I'm an existing customer. Can I expect any big changes here? And another question that I think relates here is, am I going to have, can I still get a single pane of glass view when it comes to the UI now that you've got Laminar and Rubrik, or is that all kind of still in that one beautiful dashboard you guys have?
Yes, great question. So Rubrik, actually, we've won awards for our UI, so yes. It's good to hear our customers actually like them. Yeah. So, So I'll answer the first part of the question. So if you are an existing Rubrik customer, if you leverage our Enterprise Edition, there is a component of sensitive data discovery against the backup. Laminar is highly differentiated from that because it's against prod, right? And it expands way further than what the backups protect. So from an integration standpoint, the first thing we want to do is actually expose Laminar to what Rubrik protects today, particularly our RCV Rubrik Cloud Vault, which includes our unstructured NAS data protection. It includes our SaaS data protection, our archive tier, and our primary backup tier. We're going to point Laminar at that on the back end initially. It does exist as a separate pane of glass, but that is all obviously going to be consolidated into the Rubrik Security Cloud in short order to give you that same single view. So really the breadth that Laminar is able to cover that's what we're focused on doing initially from an integration standpoint. And then secondly, we're going to expand to essentially integrate it into the Rubrik Security Cloud and make it all consolidated for you. But our focus is data because we believe it'll benefit the customers initially. But yeah, I think we're probably about a year out until it being in the Rubrik Security Cloud. Conservatively, I mean, things could move faster. But like I talked about, because we made this acquisition and established this partnership, we really want to focus on giving our customers more peace of mind in more places, and then bring it into the one pane of glass. So that's about as detailed as I can get, but that's, I think, yeah.
That's perfect. And that's about as much detail as we have time for. Vincent, thank you so much for this incredible presentation. Before you run away though, for anyone out there that wants to jump in, get started with Rubrik, or, and I'll add a follow-up, an existing customer that has questions about this acquisition, in either one of those cases, what would you recommend as that next step?
Yes, absolutely. You can contact your local Rubrik account team, or you can find me on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me and shoot me a note. Vincent Piazza is my name spelled here. Happy to connect you downstream if you're interested in learning more about Rubrik.
Amazing. Vincent, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
Yes, thank you very much. Have a good rest of the session.
Awesome. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Vincent. Really appreciate both of you being on, and such a lively Q&A. I love that. We didn't manage to get to all of your questions that came in, but if you had a question you put in, not to fret, the Rubrik team will absolutely be following up with you and making sure you have the information you're looking for. A couple of you noted that poll had not loaded there, so I've just got it up for you now. I'm pretty sure you should be seeing it. I see some responses coming in hot, so feel free to enter that in terms of what you're looking for some additional information from Rubrik. Like Jess said, this is kind of your wish list, your easy button. You can get exactly what you're looking for and nothing but. So this would be an easy way to get something hand delivered to your inbox if you did have some questions, or if you were indeed curious to check out Rubrik and that Laminar solution as well. So I'll keep that up for just a couple of minutes. Like I mentioned before, this is a short and sweet EcoCast. Sometimes we have a couple of speakers, sometimes we have a boatload, but today we just have the one. So I hope you enjoyed what Rubrik was serving up for you. I also want to mention there is a link in the handouts tab to Rubrik.com, and Rubrik as mentioned, has won some awards for their UI. They've got some incredible data, some incredible resources on their website. And I believe it's September 25th. They also have a data summit, a security summit. So you can check that out. It's kind of the main banner on their website right now. If you are definitely looking to dive deeper within this world, and especially with Rubrik, and you want to check that out further. So that said, I do actually have some prizes to give away. So thank you all for being interactive, attentive, for showing up, taking the time to, go from your busy day and actually learn something new and take in some new information. And with that, you do need to be live and present here to win the prizes, but hopefully you're going to hear your name as they get called out. So again, 3 $300 Amazon gift cards. First winner is Amy Van Winkle from Colorado. Congratulations, Amy. The second is Matthew Cobb from Tennessee. Congrats, Matthew. And third and final is Alex Adams from California. Congrats to all three of you. As always, we are going to be in touch about claiming your prize after the webinar. And don't forget, there is that $50 best question gift card. So we may also be contacting you if you put in an awesome question. Now, if you are on the webinar today and you would like to chat with us about presenting on a future summit, EcoCast, MegaCast webinar, we would absolutely love to hear from you. And you can easily reach out via email at connect@actualtechmedia.com. Amy, she said thank you. So I'm excited. I don't often see the winner actually post or say hi. So huge congrats to you, Amy. We'll be reaching out. I'm excited for you. All right, and with that bit of feel good, I just do want to say one final thank you on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team to our speakers from Rubrik and our keynote speaker, Keith, for being so entertaining and so wonderful. And a special thank you again to all of you for showing up today, taking some time out of your busy schedules, and learning about the best practices for hardening your hybrid infrastructure. Hopefully you're feeling jazzed, lit up, a little more informed, and ready to take this head on. And if you did like what you heard today, we actually have a really cool expert series coming up. This is on July 6th, so this Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And this is about AI Revolution 2024. So leveraging AI for cloud management and optimization. So if you are indeed looking at your hybrid infrastructure and you want to look a little bit more into the cloud management and optimization, these expert series are really great, sponsored by Cisco and Pure Storage. But we have an expert presenter come in that's just kind of looking at the entire ecosystem holistically. So mark your calendars for that. I'm a big fan of these expert series, and I always learn a lot as well. And with that, I hope you've had an absolutely fantastic time. I hope to see you all again. And I hope you have a magical rest of your day. Take care, everyone.